Alert day conditions will continue into the overnight hours as we transition from heat to the chances for strong storms. The latest on Future Track letting you know when you can expect those storms.
And in this hot weather, how local officials are making sure the homeless population is taken care of.
Plus, a look at Camp Randall Stadium. We'll have a live report with a look ahead to tomorrow's first day of practice for the Badger football team as the season is just a month away. You're watching News 3 Now at 5. Thanks for staying with us at 5, everyone. We begin tonight with breaking news out of Sun Prairie. Charges have been filed against the former Sun Prairie West High School Dean of Students, accused of child sex crimes.
Robert Gilkey-Meisegeier appeared in court today. He's charged with 13 counts of possession of child pornography and 2 counts of child sexual exploitation. Along with being the Dean of Students, Gilkey-Meisegeier was also a physical education teacher. According to a criminal complaint, a search of Gilkey-Meisegeier's private file on Snapchat uncovered 3,000 images. 195 of those were photos of children apparently taken without the knowledge of those who were in the photos. Many were allegedly taken from surveillance cameras in Sun Prairie West High School or the gym there. Gilkey-Meisegeier is barred from having any contact with any minor unless supervised, and he cannot access social media. His cash bond was set at $75,000.
Now to the weather. It's another hot and humid alert day today, and conditions will stay that way in the forecast overnight.
Alex is here tracking our chance of storms.
Yeah, that transition with that heat and humidity, not shocking that we also have severe weather in our forecast too. That's part of our alert day continuation into the early morning hours of Tuesday. Approximately 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. we're expecting a cluster of thunderstorms to enter southern Wisconsin with the highest threat for severe weather mainly west of Madison. We'll keep a very close tab on that. What threats are we expecting? We're expecting damaging winds, a possibility, also some heavy rainfall. The hail threat is pretty low. It's really going to be confined to strong winds and heavy rainfall. And those storms are already starting over parts of the Great Plains, out over South Dakota and the far, far north part of Nebraska right now, where they do have a severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock. But these storms will eventually combine and form into a cluster and then race across Minnesota and Iowa into southern Wisconsin. And we'll be using Future Track in a little while to track those storms. But out ahead of those storms, the fuel for them. This is the current heat index: 93 in Madison, 95 in Middleton, 95 in Mount Horeb, and 95 in Sauk City. A touch cooler than what we were originally forecasting because we had those morning showers, storms, and clouds holding down on temps just a bit. But this is very uncomfortable and very warm temperatures, of course, for this time of year. Planning our evening before those storm chances materialize, staying in the upper 80s through the mid-evening hours. If you have any outdoor activities planned, hydrate, 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 take some breaks, and know where that cool spot is. And as I've been mentioning throughout the day today, your furry friends like your dog, if you're going to take them for a walk, it's best that you take them for a walk on the grass and not on the pavement, as those pavement temperatures are very, very hot for their paws. Coming up in Maine weather, we'll use Future Track to show you when you can expect those storms potentially in your neighborhood. That's in a few minutes.
All right, Alex, thank you. And while many of us can and do retreat indoors during heat waves like this, some Madison residents simply don't have that luxury.
Tonight, Kyle Pazorski shares how Madison's Porchlight Men's Shelter is a lifeline.
It's here at Porchlight's East Side facility where more than 300 men will come at the end of the day trying to find a place to sleep, but also on a hot day like this, getting out of the sun as well.
A lot of our clients are basically in survival mode every day of the year.
Ferris of Porchlight tells me their mission is never more important than on days like this, being declared an extreme weather night.
When the weather gets really hot or really cold, you know, people tend to start to think, well, what would it be like for someone else who isn't as fortunate as I, living outside in the elements?
With last week's heat continuing into the beginning of this week, Porchlight has put out messages asking people to donate bottles of water, sunscreen, and bug spray to help vulnerable members of the Madison community. Ferris says it all makes a difference getting people the shelter they need.
We have a lot of elderly clients, so on hot days like this, we make sure to let people in early, to have them sit down and, you know, get a breath of air with the AC out of the heat.
He continues that regardless of the weather, it's important for people to remember that the challenges persist year-round for the people they serve.
They're outside every day of the year.
On the east side, Kyle Pazorski, News 3 Now.
Kyle, thank you. Community members can drop off donations directly at the Porchlight Shelter. It's 2002 Zaire Road, any day between 4 and 10 p.m.
We now know the name of the man who died following a boating incident on Lake Mendota last week. The Dane County Medical Examiner's Office identifying him as Mauricio Aponte Tafur. Last Tuesday, he was recovered from the lake near Governor Nelson State Park. His family had been boating on the lake when he went under. His death is still under investigation by the Dane County Sheriff's Office.
And over the weekend, a boat explosion in northwestern Wisconsin left several people hurt. The DNR says the explosion ejected 11 people into the Mississippi River. 8 of them were sent to the hospital for treatment. While crews were putting out the fire, the DNR says the boat drifted into a second boat and caused more damage. The cause of that blast is still under investigation.
The ribbon has been cut on the city of Madison's latest project to address the ongoing housing crisis. Today, new affordable townhomes opened on Teresa Terrace on the city's southwest side, replacing 2 old duplexes that were owned by the Community Development Authority. These 6 new units have 3 bedrooms and are designed specifically for families.
So this is a great site for families, and not just because of the structure of the buildings, but also because we are literally steps away from the Teresa Terrace Neighborhood Center.
Well, the city adds that these townhomes will permanently be affordable and are available to families making up to 60% of the area's median income.
Well, it may still be July, but the Badgers are already gearing up for the football season.
Andrew Banstra and Jalen Banks are live at Camp Randall ahead of the team's first practice, which will be down in Platteville. But we begin with Andrew and some of the changes this fall for the Cardinal and White. Andrew?
There are no 2 ways around it. These last 2 seasons for Wisconsin football have been a struggle. Luke Fickell has a losing record in his 2 years here with the Badgers, and when the going has gotten tough, has consistently pointed towards his own locker room and the drive to still want to be with this program amongst his players. Now, some of those problems seem to have been addressed heading into his 3rd year. As the players tell me, there's been a culture shift in the passion to want to win in this Big Ten Conference, telling me that this year could be different.
I have a different feeling about like this year. Like I've been through a couple springs. Like I know when it feels good and when it doesn't feel good. I mean, this one it felt good. Summertime felt good. There's not people complaining about anything. Like when we're going to work, like we're going to work. I think we'll surprise people on how good we actually are. And I think people don't know how good we are just because they haven't seen us and it's just the last year, but we're a totally different team mentally and physically.
You know, culture's kind of a buzzword, but there's a little bit more intensity, there's a little bit more focus on the things that matter. And so I'd say there is a little bit of a culture change, and we got to show that on the field now. You know, you can talk about how you change your culture, but what matters is what you put on tape.
And for as many changes as we've seen on the field, it looks like we're going to see just as many or more off the field this season. And that starts with traffic. I mean, when you have a game day here in Madison, it's here, it's on the streets, it's everywhere. What do we got, Jalen?
Yeah, for sure. I'm just going to say that UWPD is making a bit of an audible of their own. Before we jump around this season, you should expect that the 1400 block of Monroe Street will be blocked off for the entirety of the game from the intersections of Monroe and Regent to Monroe and Randall. Typically, this stretch is closed off after the game for about an hour and a half. Earlier, I spoke with Mark Lovicott of UWPD, and he says pedestrian safety was at the top of the mind for this change.
When you look at some of the events that have happened around the country, unfortunately, when it comes to vehicles being used as weapons, this is definitely a concerning stretch for us, and trying to find ways to prevent a tragedy like that from happening.
Now, they used the 2 concerts this summer of Coldplay and Morgan Wallen as, kind of a test drive for the traffic change this season, and they're in the final, I guess you could say, stages of getting this approved as we head into the football season. Now, of course, as you'd mentioned, there's a lot of stuff going on game days, so much traffic, and we'll see whether or not it'll be impactful as they head into their season opener against Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, but before they can get there, they're going to hit those same roads and hit the pavement down for Platteville. As you can see, those buses right behind us are fired up and packed. The Badgers head to fall camp tonight. We'll have that in coverage all day tomorrow, but coming up at 6, hear from the Badgers on why this experience in Platteville is one that will bring their team closer together.
All right, Jalen, Andrew, thank you very much. And it is day 5 already of Packers training camp up in Green Bay. And things, well, they got a little too physical at practice today.
Our senior Packers writer Jason Wilde lets us know how training camp is going and who's injured.
How you doing, everybody? It's Jason Wilde at Lambeau Field. Big day on day number 5 of Packers training camp. The pads go on, and it looks like real football. Now, it's supposed to be some version of real football, which does not include full-fledged tackling, and yet there was a play today in which Nate Hobbs, who has already had some issues with being a little too physical for Matt LaFleur's liking, took down teammate Marshawn Lloyd during an 11-on-11 contact period where he tackled him low, took him to the ground, and Marshawn Lloyd, who as a rookie last year had terrible injury luck, had to leave practice with what appeared to be a leg injury. So we'll hopefully have updates on that later in the week. It looked like he was okay to the point of being able to stay and watch practice, but Matt LaFleur had Nate Hobbs leave practice for a few series, put him in timeout, as Nate Hobbs put it, before he returned, and later had an interception against Jordan Love. That's the report for today. We'll see you next time.
All right, thank you, Jason. To stay up to date with the latest Packer news, you can sign up for Jason Wilde's Extra Point newsletter. Just head over to the Packers page on the Channel 3000 website.
And still to come at 5, beef prices continue to rise all across the nation.
And it's set to be a big week for U.S. trade and the economy. The new trade deals being struck as a tariff deadline looms.
And on Wall Street today, mixed numbers. The Dow falls more than 64 points. The NASDAQ adds 70. S&P up just a point. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Welcome back. President Trump starting the week in Scotland with a key meeting as a big trade deadline looms.
The president striking a deal with the European Union that places a 15% tariff on most goods coming from the 27-member EU. President Trump also touting the framework of last month's deal between the U.S. and the U.K.
You got it done, so I want to congratulate you on that. And it's a great deal for both. It brings unity. We didn't need unity, but it brings us even closer together. I think it's good for both parties.
The White House faces another self-imposed deadline on Friday for settling tariff rates for more than 200 U.S. trading partners. It caps a blockbuster week that will also see an interest rate decision from the Federal Reserve on Wednesday, the second quarter GDP report, and the July jobs report. And big changes could be coming to the Federal Reserve. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the Trump administration intends to shake up the Fed. The White House may be looking to cut more than 10% of the Fed's workforce in coming years. And Chairman Jerome Powell will step aside at the end of his term in May of next year, which will accelerate changes at the Fed.
Well, grilling out, of course, is a summertime tradition, but hamburgers and steaks are more expensive than ever. The average price for a pound of ground beef up 10% from a year ago. Steaks 12% more expensive. Drought and higher overhead costs have farmers raising smaller herds. And with the USDA reporting farmers had less than 87 million cattle and calves in January, it's the lowest herd level since back in 1951.
Right now, if you're in the cow-calf business and you're not happy about the cattle market, you need some Jesus in your life, because that's probably the only thing that will make you happy, because it is an outstanding market.
There are fears prices could go even higher. A parasite sickening cows in Mexico could further impact the supply. And economists say while President Trump's tariffs on imported beef from some countries hasn't had a major effect on prices yet, that could change. Well, dangerous heat will stick around with us until at least 8 tonight, and a cluster of storms is on the way.
Let's get an update on the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington. Those overnight storms, Alex, those are always really scary.
Yeah, they can always be a bit on the daunting side, and that's a good reason why to have your First Warn weather app on your phone. That's WISC Weather in the App Store. It's a good way to get that severe weather information. Of course, we'll be breaking in if necessary with those thunderstorms, all banking on this heat here. to give that fuel for those showers and those thunderstorms right now. This is the feels like factor, 93 in Madison, 93 in Janesville, 94 right now in the Dalles. So these are some of the highest the heat index values have been all day. A little cooler than earlier anticipated. And the reason for that, we had showers and thunderstorms and clouds this morning that held down on the temperatures just a bit. 93 again at the airport. That's what it feels like. 95 in Middleton. The actual mercury, the actual temperature outside is right around 90 degrees in southern Wisconsin as we speak. As we plan our evening, actual air temperatures again right around 90. That's where we're at. The thermometer actual reading will be 85 at 8 o'clock, and then temperatures will start to slide down. But as we get into the early morning hours, even at 1 o'clock, still 74 degrees, very muggy conditions, and that's that fuel for thunderstorms that will move in from the west. They're gearing up right now in the Great Plains in South Dakota, and they're on their way. They'll race across Minnesota and northern Iowa tonight and make it to areas mainly west of Madison by approximately 1, 2 or so in the morning, lasting till approximately daybreak on Tuesday. Main threats are going to be heavy rainfall and strong gusty winds out ahead at that leading edge of that line of storms. Looks like a colorful map here. Let me break it down for you. The green, Madison, Dells, Watertown, Janesville, Monroe. I think the line's going to be weakening once it gets into your neighborhoods, but that's a level 1 out of 5 risk, meaning we can't rule out an isolated severe storm. The greatest chance for severe weather is going to be in Minnesota and Iowa, but that line will likely propagate right into southern Wisconsin and the southwest part of the state, Viroqua, Crawford County, Richland Center, Dodgeville, Platteville, Dubuque over towards Darlington, also catching perhaps the Baraboo area and Camp Douglas with a level 2 out of 5 risk. This means scattered severe thunderstorms are a possibility. And again, as Susan was saying, this is not happening in the evening hours. This is happening in the overnight hours, which again underscores the importance of having your NOAA radio handy, that First One Weather app downloaded on your phone, and of course have your remote ready to tune in to Channel 3 in case we need to break in. 2 o'clock in the morning is when we see those thunderstorms approach the Mississippi River. As we head into the 4 o'clock range, Camp Douglas, Richland Center, down towards Fenimore, over towards Prairie du Chien, right around the Dickeyville area. West of Dodgeville, this is where that line of thunderstorms will probably be its strongest in southern Wisconsin, with the potential for that severe weather. As we head towards 6 o'clock, it fizzles out relatively quickly, which would be good news. These aren't the types of showers and storms that you want because they have that damaging wind potential, which can be a hindrance, of course, to property and, of course, to our farmers with crops as well. Sometimes can bring corn down as well. As we go into Tuesday itself, a couple of pop-up showers and thunderstorms with that cold front, and one more cluster of storms with that cold front riding right along the Wisconsin-Illinois border Wednesday morning. And then that's it. When I mean that's it, because we have really nice temperatures coming into the area. Comfy range humidity levels Wednesday through the end of the upcoming work week. It's going to dry out through the end of the upcoming work week. And look at this. 77 to 78 to 80 by day, 50s by night. So that's a treat heading towards southern Wisconsin. But we got to get through a stormy night first. Susan, Eric?
All right. Thank you, Alex. After the break at 5, even our furry friends need help when it comes to blood donations. Hear how one dog is saving lives, one prick of the paw at a time.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
It is true, of course, for humans that donating blood saves lives.
It's also true for cats and dogs. Michael George shows us the need for animal blood donors.
3-year-old Augie may look like any other happy, healthy dog, but Augie is a hero who saved the lives of 12 other dogs. And he's about to save even more.
Sit. Good boy.
Augie is an animal blood donor. Veterinarian Lenore Basic of Blue Pearl Pet Hospital explains our pets need blood donors for the same reasons humans do.
They might have diseases where they need blood. They might have an accident where maybe they get hit by a car. Maybe they have a surgery.
There are weight, age, and health restrictions for cats and dogs to be deemed safe to donate. Augie's owner, Noelle Morrison, was worried at first.
Obviously didn't want him to be distressed. I didn't want him to feel, any pain or anything. But then, once they explained everything to us and they showed us the process, it was really not a big deal.
They try to make the donations as painless as possible. He gets plenty of treats, they make sure he's comfortable, and they sedate him if necessary.
It's not invasive. Really, we're just taking a small amount of blood. And again, the whole thing takes about 10 minutes.
You did so good, bud.
It doesn't take long for Augie to be back up and at 'em.
A little wobbly afterwards, but not long. It maybe lasts like an hour or two, and then he's back to his exact normal self, very playful, happy-go-lucky.
Blue Pearl gives donor pets a free health screening and blood work as a bonus for owners. Augie has donated 4 times. On the wall are photos of pets saved by donors like him.
If anything had ever happened to him where he needed to receive blood, I would have wanted someone to do the same thing for us.
Even the smallest members of our family can save a life. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Good boy, Augie. And if you're interested in seeing if your pet can donate blood, check with the local veterinary hospitals in your area.
And Alex is back next. A final check of your First Warn forecast.
Our Eye in America has a woman's mission to prove that a little kindness is all it takes to feed the soul, even in the toughest of circumstances.
And new hope for early Alzheimer's patients, a treatment that slows down cognitive decline. That's tonight on the CBS Evening News.
And coming up tonight at 6, we'll speak with health experts after Wisconsin saw its first case of human West Nile virus this year. That's at the top of the hour. Join us for News 3 Now at 6.
Finally at 5, dozens of dogs hit the waves in the UK over the weekend for a surfing competition that made a big splash. Pups and their people showed off their skills in a 50-meter sprint on a paddleboard, showcasing balance, bravery, and a lot of personality.
I'm not sure all of them really wanted to do this.
That's how I always feel.
A whippet named Margot stole the show, surfing her way to the championship title. Whether they won or wiped out, the pups seemed to soak up the spotlight. And the canine competitors made some history, breaking 3 Guinness World Records at this annual event. All right, Alex is back. Final check of the forecast.
Yeah, now we transition our attention from the heat to the strong storm potential overnight, mainly west of Madison. This line is expected to have somewhat of a weakening mode as it gets into southwest Wisconsin, which is good news. Sometimes the storms this time of year can promote that damaging wind threat and bring down crops and bring down trees, and hopefully that's not going to be the case tonight. But nonetheless, be prepared. WISC weather on your app store, on your First Warn weather app, and of course tune into channel3000.com. And tonight at 6 and 10, Blaze will have the very latest on that line of storms that's gearing up right now in the Dakotas. South Dakota right now with severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings. That line's going to get together and then move into the area by the overnight hours.
All right, Alex, thank you. Thanks for joining us at 5. Coming up next, the CBS Evening News. We'll be back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6.
Have a good evening, everybody. You can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+.